What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC, and we back with another reaction. Today we are watching NBA legends and players explain how scary good Larry Bird was. Larry Bird, from what I hear, is he's just the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Every time I say anything about Larry Bird, it's like the Larry Bird soldiers come to the comments, come to the videos. You don't talk about Larry Bird. You don't know nothing about Larry Bird, youngster. Little dude from across the street. You don't know nothing about Larry Bird. He the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? So listen, man. I wasn't alive in the 80s. I wasn't alive in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on in the 2000s for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, maybe these NBA players talking about Larry Bird will add some context. You know, because if you didn't grow up watching the players like a lot of you guys did, there's going to be a lot of context missed. So with this video, I'm hoping to get some context and maybe, you know, make up for a little bit for what I lack in not being able to have watched him live. So without any further ado, let's get it popping.
Hey man, it's your boy YG, aka Yangala, and Larry Bird is one of those guys we have to put respect on because he was cooking your favorite player in the 80s. And what made him so special is that he can shoot lights out, and his IQ was off the charts. That's what really made him unguardable. And the cherry on top of all of that is that he will talk a whole lot of trash. And it was so disrespectful. I'm not gonna say anything because the NBA legends gonna talk about it, but Larry Bird was so good that he scored 47 points with his left hand. It was getting too easy for him in his prime. And I hate how people don't think Larry Legend won't survive in today's league just because he wasn't the most athletic. But that doesn't make any sense because there's players like Luka Doncic who are unathletic but skilled. If anything, Larry Bird will excel in this league. Just his shooting alone will make him a threat. This is an all-time great we talking about here. Legends will find any way to dominate the game. So anyways, man, we're gonna listen to NBA legends and players talk about how scary good prime Larry Bird was. But before we get straight into that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for the culture so you won't be missing any of my videos.
Pass is crazy.
Let's get to the vid, man.
Excuse me, my fault. Excuse me.
Y'all gave us a run for our money. Yeah.
They sure did. Them Pacers sure did.
You work on that golf game of yours.
One of the greatest players ever played this game. A kid from French Lick, you know, Boston, and one of the few guys that ever you know, be in a three-point contest and shoot with a warm-up shirt on. And you know, but just as like he played till he couldn't play no more. Obviously, we know that he just played till he literally couldn't play the game no more. He gave everything he had. And for young guys that don't know him, you know, they think of Larry Bird as a jump shooter, but he was so much more than that. He was a passer. He averaged double-digit rebounds. He defended, he took charges, and you know, he's just a straight-up complete basketball player. And me as a small forward, you know, Scotty, Bird, Doc, you know, George Gervin, so guys that I kind of looked up to being a small forward. You know, and they kind of set the precedence of what it is to, you know, go out there as a professional and give it all. So, you know, I've always been a big fan of Larry Bird, and, you know, if I'm linked with any other greats, especially like him, it's pretty cool.
When traders tell us how to make Thinkorswim even better, we listen. Like Jack.
Magic, James Worthy, Kurt Rambis, Kareem Abdul, all the Laker greats, I would always sit down and just ask them questions about certain games that I studied growing up. What actually happened there? What did you feel there? Why? You know, Bird tough to defend. Why? Because you look slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something.
That's real
so,
talk.
like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean?
That's real talk.
Kind of complimented Larry in the past. Is that kind of a cool thing?
Hell yeah! Somebody texted me after the game and showed me a screenshot, and I was giddy like a little kid. I mean, grew up watching Larry Bird, and well, not really. He's old.
Why, Nick? I'm about to say, why niggas lying? You did not. Stop.
But you grew up kind of knowing.
Yeah,
knowing
niggas
the
be capping, man.
Legend and,
niggas just be saying
know,
whatever.
So, to be amongst the greats, that's all you really want to do. That's a great accomplishment. But I keep going. Just a love for the game and love for practice and love for shooting. I think that
we're similar in those areas. But he allowed players like myself to kind of dream big and think big at that position and to do things that traditional small forwards, I guess, or big men weren't doing. And he's one of the first guys you've seen.
Patterned my game, who I wanted to be like, who I wanted to play like after Larry Bird. So I was torn. So I love them both, and to have a chance to play against Larry early on in my career and then kind of be under his leadership when he took over as head coach, it was a thrill for me because that was, one of the players that, I really idolized and patterned my game after.
What Larry was able to do on and off the court, it defied description, and it was very much like being on tour with the Grateful Dead, in that you never knew what was going to happen. You knew it was going to be fun. You knew it was going to be great. You knew it was going to be dynamic. You knew it was going to be explosive. But you could never say, that's what's going to happen.
I think his first 8 or 10 points were left-handed. And at that point, McHale was still coming off the bench. And so we score. Larry scores his 6th point on some kind of left-handed shot.
Bird against Kersey.
And McHale goes, hey, Jerome, when do we start shooting right-handed?
James for Bird, another 3-point try.
Well, left-handed is one thing, but when the game got close, I had to go back to the right one. I think it went right down the wire, and we might have won by 1 point.
Beat you right there. You got to keep under control. They don't.
I went to shake his hand. He wouldn't shake my hand. And I remember saying to myself, well, maybe he's just getting into the game. And I remember the first play of the game, he said, you don't even belong in this league, Holmes. And he shoots a 3. I'm like, I wasn't mad he made a 3. I said, did he just call me Holmes? But I remember after the first time, I made a great play against him. I remember him saying, he said, you got some toughness, man. I like you. But he said, I'm still getting 40 tonight. He got about 38, so he kind of proved his point. But I mean, I knew he was a super player before I came into the NBA. But when I had a chance to play against Larry Bird, and I can count on one hand the type of guys like him that you had to be totally focused in on. If you didn't, he would embarrass you.
Bird 6.
Okay.
Bird, for those that don't know, won 3 straight MVPs in the league with the Showtime Lakers and Michael Jordan and the Bad Boys president. 3 straight MVPs. MVP.
So you would say that was the baddest white boy ever?
No question. It's not even a guess. No doubt.
Okay.
That's not even a question. Who's second? Like, you got Bird, who's top 10 all time. He's a top 10 player of all time. Most people have him around the 6-7 range. And then who's second after that? Is either Dirk or Nash. And Dirk nor Nash are probably, I would probably take Dirk, and Dirk is maybe like top 20-ish. So there's a big gap. You know what I'm saying? He definitely holding it down for the white people, man. Like, you can't say white people can't hoop.
Bird night.
I had the Bird night. Yeah, that was a tough night, man.
And he would tell you to play and catch it over there and shoot it.
Larry Bird, he was not a nice guy.
He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun.
And they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, I'm going to score right here on you.
And he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me.
10 in a row?
The last one was left-handed, and he asked me if my mother was watching.
He was calling shots off the glass. Who's next? Where do you want this one from? And he just made one after another.
Triple.
When he got to about the 55th point, you knew it was something special. Even as a player, and that usually doesn't happen, but we were down so much at the time, you had time to realize the game.
Right.
On the free throw line, and he literally says, left side across the 3, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
That was the one game that I think he tortured Dominique. He saw Dominique, this up-and-coming player, and he just tortured him mentally. That game, he tortured all of them.
I mean, it was mind-blowing.
I think Bird went by the bench one time, too.
He fell in the bench.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, and he called that one. That was the one where he fell in it. He literally said, off the glass into the trainer. And,
talking like a plumber.
And it's going to be a 3, and it's going to be awful. then he said, "Who wants it?" And I think Ricky Brown, I'm not for sure who it was, ran out.
That's
after
good
him.
defense.
He shot this high
I can't
rainbow,
jack that. That is
goes in,
crazy.
Ricky bumps into him and
That's wild,
accidentally
yo.
knocks him on our trainer's lap. So it was exactly what he said.
Antoine Carr and Cliff Levingston got fined by Fratello, I think, for
And Eddie Johnson for celebrating.
celebrating Bird.
Yeah, it was the best film session. Every time when I see Mike, we still laugh.
At Lovesac, we design furniture for life. Real life. Messy.
God, it was the greatest film session ever.
Nah, these
Because
shots are
back then,
crazy.
you didn't have, you watched the real game and just went, with a video. And Mike rewound the celebration 20 times. He just kept, not the shot, he just kept rewinding it, showing the guys, you remember they're giving each other high five.
And then somebody falls off the bench.
Yeah,
too.
that was Eddie Johnson.
Yeah.
Eddie Johnson falls off the bench in laughter.
I mean, everybody was entertained by this. Even
That's one
the
out of
guys
five.
on
That's
the guys on the Atlanta
They
bench.
got five for that, I heard.
Yeah, watch the reactions on the Atlanta bench. You see Scotty Hastings
up there
with them,
laughing. Yeah, when you get
now watch Cliff Levingston over here. I think this is Cliff.
And our film session was 20 minutes of that.
At the three-point competition, walking in the locker room, who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I was so bad.
Yeah, when you walked in and asked who was going to get second place in the three-point contest, when you walked in there, what were you thinking when you made that announcement to the room? Just messing with all those guys like you always did with everybody?
I didn't. I had no clue. I never really practiced. Me and Danny used to shoot some before we went out there. Everybody's sitting there. Everybody's real quiet. You really did. You knew the guys, but you never were around them.
Three-point contest at the All-Star break, and Larry walks in and says, "I hope all you guys in here are thinking about second place because I'm winning this."
Excuse me?
In fact, there was one game in Cleveland.
And he told me where he was going and where he was going to shoot.
Nah, I won't hear about it.
Okay?
I won't hear about it.
It was 91-92 season, and we was playing the Boston Celtics. It was Bird, McHale, Parrish, the great three, Ainge, and we was up 1. Okay?
Where he was having a pretty rough first half, and in the old days in Cleveland, you walked off the court the same way at halftime, and I kind of puffed up on him and walked beside him and was like, "Yeah, you're 1 for 10." I was like, "That's defense, you know." He just kind of looked at me and said, "There's 2 halves," and he came back out and hit about 10 in a row on me.
And we was up 1. Okay? He said, "Who's guarding me?" As we come out of timeout. Now remember, I'm a rookie.
Point them out.
Because he hurt. Right. He says, "Who's guarding me?" I says,
"Nah, hold on. I need to see that play again."
"Who's guarding me?" As we come out of timeout.
That's basketball
now,
right
remember,
there.
I'm a rookie because Price is
Jab,
Right.
one dribble, pump fake in the air, give it up, give it right back, pump fake. That's a lot going on right there.
He says, "Why you got that white boy on me?" Don't put no white boy on me.
He said that was the most.
Now remember, Larry Bird is white.
Right.
And the last one was left-handed, and he asked me if my mother was watching.
That's
Bird
crazy.
didn't talk trash to you.
Oh my God, Bird talked trash to everybody.
But did he get to a point where he had respect for you?
I always tell this story
Go
about
rebound,
Larry
give me that.
I remember him, he was cursing under his breath. And I asked him, I said, "Larry, what's going on with you?" He says, "You guys are being disrespectful to me." And I says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "You guys are putting a white guy on me." That's disrespectful.
Wait, who's the
Now that is low key though. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4 black dudes, and then the only white dude is guarding Larry Bird. Now that, I'm saying that is disrespect. I can't lie.
I remember who it was. I just started laughing. I had no comeback when he says, "It's disrespectful when y'all put a white guy on me."
Bird used to tell people. I remember he told me a story about Xavier McDaniel. He said,
The X-Man, yeah.
"X, I'm gonna get the ball right here. I'm gonna shoot a jumper right in your face."
It was a tie game. They had the ball, and DJ was stalling the basketball, and Larry was kind of standing. I was right behind him, like denying him the ball. and they called a timeout, and he turned around and looked at me and said, "I'm gonna score right here on you." And I said, "I know you will. I'll be ready."
He said, "I know you will." Why would he say that?
During the timeout, I'm going through a play, and about that time, Larry steps in and says, "Coach, why don't you just give me the ball and tell everybody to get out of the way?" That's Larry. If he wants the ball, he wants the ball. After the timeout, we walked back on the court, and then Xavier was guarding him. So he tells Xavier, he says, "I'm getting the ball."
And Larry said, "I'm gonna get it right here, Ed. I'm gonna shoot it in your face." And he hit it and looked at me, and he was like, "Damn, I didn't even leave nothing on the clock." He shot a shot right in my face. I just looked back, and the ball just went in, hit all net, and he said, "I told you so." And you know, he was like, "I didn't mean to leave 2 seconds on the clock." He wanted to shoot it with 0 seconds on the clock. And I walked back to the sideline like, dang.
What can you say?
A
I
lot
guess.
of people don't know this. You probably know this, Dan, but Larry Bird was one of the biggest trash talkers in basketball. And a lot of people say, really? You know, they thought it was Reggie or Charles. Larry Bird talked more trash on the basketball court than anybody I've ever played against. And he told me two things one game. You know, our rotations, double teaming Kevin McHale always had to rotate to the corner, and Larry Bird was the one shooting it. You know, so he shot one, and I mean, I'm trying to block this shot, and he would just tell me, "Scott, you're a little too late." You know, a little too late. So we playing him in the last play. He says to James Worthy, he says, "You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna go right over there that corner." He said, "They're going to set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out." He said, "I'm going to..."
Damn, he got him yoked up. What's up? Damn.
He's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, "I'm going to go right over to that corner, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to shoot it, and I'm going to tie the game or win the game," whatever the case may be. They take the ball out, and I think it was either Danny or
DJ,
the late, great DJ.
Yeah.
Take the ball out, man curl right to the corner, caught the shot, shot a three, game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me? It's my Larry Bird story.
Beyond an acute awareness of his own commercial potential, Bird waged psychological warfare at the drop of a ball.
The 84 Olympic team was playing an exhibition game against a bunch of pros, including Larry Bird, and they were in the warm-ups. And a ball bounced down from the college end of the court to the pro end. And Michael Jordan went down to chase it. The ball happened to be picked up by Larry Bird. And Michael went up a few feet away from Larry Bird and held out his hands. And Bird took the ball and fired it back down the court over Jordan's head. As if to say, "You're not only not getting this ball, I don't give a damn who you are." Larry Bird knows exactly who this guy is and what's going to happen in the next few years. And he wants to get every edge he can get right now.
So guys, hopefully y'all realize how great Larry Bird was.
Deep.
Because the man can do it all. He was not only a shooter, he can play make, rebound, and was an underrated defender. He was on the NBA All-Defensive Team 3 times during his prime. So please put respect on Larry Legend's name because he...
Yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting. The main takeaway that I have is like, when you hear about Larry Bird growing up and you hear like how he didn't like to garner attention, and then you hear how he was on the basketball court and he would just talking crazy, like, you know what I'm saying? It just shows like when you in your element, you kind of almost can be a completely different person. You know, like the biggest introverts in the world, you know, when they in their element, when they doing what they do, when they in their gift, it could be totally different. You know, they could be a totally different person. You know, so that's the main takeaway that I was thinking about when I was watching this. I did hear about most of these before, but that last part about Michael Jordan and like him wanting to get every necessary edge that he could because he knew how good MJ was gonna be, like, and it showed that it worked, you know, because he's undefeated against Michael Jordan in the playoffs, you know. So I mean, yeah, man, I enjoyed this video. Definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like these type of videos, and I will see you when I see you. Peace.